So I thought tonight I might talk about pushing. I think a theme that kept coming up in the intensive was just actors need to show their point of view rather than having their point of view. What does it mean to show if I'm showing you? Overacting is a really good way of putting it. Example I often use is if you go to the coffee shop, you don't need to show the barista what kind of coffee you want. You just know and you order it. You don't have to go in there going, oat gap, yeah, I need it. You just tell them and they believe you. You know, another example I often use is, let's say somebody had a heart attack in the street and some other person came running over and they said, it's okay, I know what to do, I'm a doctor. Would you believe them?
Yeah.
You would, wouldn't you? You wouldn't go, well, let's see your credential. And that person doesn't have to come running in going, it's okay, I'm a doctor, and put on their stethoscope. Or we just believe you. If you tell us you're something, for the most part, we accept it. And it's the same in life. You don't have to convince us that you're something. If you tell us you are, for the most part, we will believe you. We'll accept that that's what you are. So it's the same up here. It's the same in your work. When you tell us you're the king or the queen, or people refer to you as such, we'll go, okay, I guess that's the king. I guess that's the queen. You don't have to work so hard in order to prove to us that you are. Because that's what leads to pushing and showing. You know, you guys have all heard me say before that acting is doing, not pretending. Does that make sense? To act means to do, not to pretend. Another example I often use, some of you may have seen me do this before, is I'll get somebody to pretend to carry a glass of water that's filled to the brim across the room. And then I'll get them to actually do it. When they're pretending to carry the water, what you see is a lot of this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Lots of showing me that the glass is filled to the brim. And in actual fact, the actor starts to work really hard. They're working too hard to prove to me that there actually is water in the glass. Does that make sense? They don't have to work so hard. So your work is going to look more convincing and you're going to work less hard and we're going to believe you. If you can get into the habit of not pushing or showing, but doing. I think the other distinction I wanted to talk about in terms of the difference between what it is to push versus what it is to just be. But what this casting director was saying, the difference between the actors that are all kind of okay, that she watches, whose work it's pretty good, but kind of blends together, versus the actors that really stand out. The actors that are booking the jobs are the ones that have got this inner world going on. That it's all in here. It's not out here. They're not pushing, they're not showing, they're not indicating. They just know what they're talking about. They know the context of the story they're telling. They know the context of the character they're playing and the context of that character's life. And when you know, you don't have to show. Something else that happens a lot when actors are in here or they're auditioning is there's this, first of all, there's this need to perform that happens. I'm putting on a performance. And certainly if we're in class and there's a bunch of people in here, then it can sometimes feel like you're performing for them. If you're on a film set, it can sometimes feel like you're performing for the crew because there are all these people there. And especially if you're theatre trained, you're used to sending it out to the audience. Film is the opposite of that. You don't have to send anything out. If anything in film, you have to draw people in. See, like right now, I'm talking to you guys, and so my voice is out here, which is appropriate given that that's where you all are. There's all of you guys are here in the room with me. But if I had a reader who's standing just there right next to the camera, I don't need to talk past them. I just need to talk to them. You want to pitch your performance according to not only the person you're talking to, but where they are in space, who's in space, the size of the room you're in. Now, obviously, again, if I'm on a big sound stage, I don't need to project to the back of that sound stage. I just need to reach the person in front of me and trust that the microphone is going to do a lot of the work in terms of picking up my voice. I think when there are a lot of people in the room, that's when we do feel that onus to push or to perform. Who here sometimes feels really aware of the camera, like self-conscious about the fact that they're being filmed? Yeah, a few of us, right? I don't personally think we can ever fully forget that the camera is there. We can't really deny it. You know, one of my favorite pieces of acting advice comes from David Mamet, which is invent nothing, deny nothing. So it doesn't really make sense for me to be doing a scene with someone denying the fact that the camera is there. That's the opposite of invent nothing, deny nothing. Does that make sense? If anything, what I want to do is I want to just accept that the camera is there. Because if you try to deny it, like anything, what you resist persists, as you know I'm very fond of saying. What you acknowledge ceases to be a problem. Does that make sense? If I can acknowledge the fact that it's there, I don't mean look at it, but I'm not going to pretend like it's not. I'm going to accept that it is. If anything, it's almost like it's part of the given circumstances right now. It's just there. It doesn't change what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing the scene with Jasmine, I'm just talking to Jasmine. And I can accept that the camera's there watching. Just like when you guys are private in public. Let's say when you're on a train. It's not like you forgot that you're on a train. It's not like you're not aware of the fact that there are other people there that are even within earshot. But you're just talking to your friend who you're sitting next to. Your eyes are connected to your central nervous system and they're connected to your brain at around about where the optic nerve is, which is just about here. Does that make sense? So I want you to imagine that everyone that you're talking to, like your scene partner, the camera, the lights, even the people in the room, what if you could draw them all in? What if you could draw the camera, the lights, the film crew, rather than you having to push yourself out? Now, part of the problem of acting training is that you've been taught to affect the other person, that it's all about affecting them. And that's not incorrect. It is about affecting change in the other. And the whole idea that the test for your performance is not in you, it's out here in them. What do you think actors end up doing when they're trying to affect the other person? Pushing. They push. That's right. They start to push their point of view onto them. Rather than drawing the other person in, bringing them close to you. Because it's kind of like if you say to someone, don't think of elephants. What are they going to think about? Elephants. Who just thought of an elephant? That's right. So if I say don't think of the camera, what are you guys going to be thinking about? The camera. So rather than not thinking about the camera or pretending like it's not there, let's just accept that it is. Let it be part of your peripheral vision. Let the room be part of your peripheral vision. Let the film crew be part of your peripheral vision. Just accept that they're all there. Don't deny them. And if I can do that, then I'm beginning to actually let you guys all exist back here, at the back of my eyes. And then I don't have to push. I can just be. If we're playing a character, why are we trying to affect change in the other person? Why? Why does the character try to affect change in the other person? What are they trying to do? They're trying to get what they want. Make sense? In other words, it's about who? It's about me. If I'm playing the character, I'm only trying to affect you because right now it's all about me and what I want. Characters are selfish, just like people. I'm not saying we're not also altruistic, but a lot of the time we're pretty self-absorbed, aren't we? There is a difference between being self-conscious and like thinking about how I look versus just knowing what I want and what I need from the outside world, which is my scene partner, my environment, you guys. Just this idea of not having to push your performance, not having to show me your point of view, just knowing your point of view. Sitting back here and drawing the reader, the camera, the lights, and the audience into you. Part of the reason why I think we become a little bit hyper-present is because the stakes are high. Most of the time we're telling stories about people that are going through some kind of crisis or problem, and the stakes are high. And I don't know about you guys, but like when something really matters, when something's really at stake, don't you become more present? Aren't you more focused on what's happening right now in the moment? So there is a kind of a hyper-presence that's going on because what you're talking about, if you're playing the character, is important to them. I get it may not be important to you because as an actor, there's nothing really at stake for you. You get to finish class and go home and eat some food and watch some Netflix and go to bed. But for the character, what they're dealing with might be life or death. Things may never be the same for them as a result of the conversation that they're having right now. Moment to moment is exactly what draws the audience in. When we are acting moment to moment to moment, there's kind of only one thing happening at a time. Does that make sense? It's one thing at a time. It's not everything at a time. It's not the end of the scene happening at the beginning. It's this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment. And as an audience member watching each of those moments being played, one moment at a time, one thing at a time, then as an audience, I'm kind of going, yep, 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 yep. I'm right there with you. But if you're not present, if you're not in that moment, and you're thinking about the moment that's yet to come, or you're worried about the moment that just happened, or you're worried about getting your performance right, then that's what I see. I see acting, not someone just being in the moment, taking it one moment at a time. Let's see if we can bring everyone in tonight. Draw us in. The camera's just there. You don't have to reach anyone else. You can even do that, you know, in terms of volume. You know, if I start to get a little bit quiet, then you guys have to listen, don't you? It's not that I can't raise my voice. I can if I need to. if I need to affect change in them. But even if I'm affecting change in them, it's only because there's something that I want. It's about me. So I'm going to say to you tonight, don't be afraid to be selfish.